Well, hi everyone, this is Joel Kleber from Gyms Group HQ, and today we are on with another episode of the Gyms Cast after last week's very fiery science v religion debate, which was not much of a debate whatsoever. It was more of an interview by an atheist where I just got smashed and bombarded. So what was your reaction to that from anyone who you've sent it to?
Oh, I've passed it to some of my Christian contacts, and they were quite interested. Like I showed my pastor and somebody else who's on Christian radio. I thought it was good.
And I say go easy on the young man next time or something. If you want,
people do feel sorry for you. I must say, in comments about in Ask Jim, they say, "Why you make fun of Joel all the time?"
Yeah, all the time. But but that's what the job is. So what we do today is we're sort of thrashing around a bit topics and that. You come over to my desk one day. So let's do one on fitness, nutrition, and health. Because you're a big believer in that. Let's talk about that. What are your thoughts on that? What routines you have and some advice?
Well, I'm just a huge believer in fitness. It's kind of one of those things that people just don't put the effort into they should. I have a half hour a day at the moment. What I do is I have 20 minutes on the treadmill, normal days, and then 10 minutes on a rowing machine. And I usually go for a half hour, very brisk walk at the same time. On Friday and Saturday, I tend to work on my farm, which is usually several hours a day. So I just find, even though it's not something you always want to do, the difference it makes is phenomenal. Because I know I've just turned 68 and I'm just full of beans and energy and enthusiasm and optimism and stuff. And I look at people even close to my age and they're getting old. I think that short period of time when you just do the thing you don't always feel like doing, it has such an immense impact. And also on mood too. My mood is overall, I mean, I'm in a great situation. I have a very happy marriage, and business that I love, and church and everything else. But all the same thing, fitness is the biggest single contributor to mood that there is.
And you said you started rowing as well. You used to be purely running. Now you've done rowing.
Yeah.
Yep. Mixing it up.
Well, I started rowing because I hurt my foot, so it was hard to run. So I got a rowing machine, which it's only about $300, not that expensive. And I found that it's good because it's upper body exercise like that. So I do that it's quite tough, mostly because you get sore sitting down. But I find the combination of the two, because they also reckon that it's not just aerobic fitness, it's also strength training is good. So that's really, you've got to pull very hard against that. So I think that's a good combination. You want a bit of upper and lower. What I'm really looking forward to is getting our sporting complex here.
What's going to be in there? So
the pool will be enclosed and heated. There'll be a gymnasium and there'll be a racquetball court. And I must say, it's all good, but I'm really looking forward to the racquetball court because that is really vigorous exercise, which is so fun.
I can imagine you are. And Jim plays a lot. And if you go to YouTube, The Day in the Life of Jim, you'll see him there playing.
Well, I can't moment. They've shut down our club because of the virus.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so you can't play there anymore.
Right. Even with the new change conditions, you can't.
Well, last time I checked, no, it's still not open yet.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
But hopefully very soon. But it's good, actually. It's one way of getting fit that's actually fun. And I'm a fairly competitive sort of character, so that, when I'm up against somebody and having a hard fight, you will just kill yourself and you'll enjoy doing it.
I watched it play before when we had to film that. We watched it. It was good. Done well.
Well, you should get on it.
I'll give you a game. I can move around a bit more now.
Can you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. So
I would really hope that for at least 5 days a week when I'm not on my farm, I'd much rather play racquetball than anything else.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett has a racquetball court in his place.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that at all. I was going to say now as well, you're very fanatical about your weight. You weigh yourself every morning. Maybe you want to tell the people about why do you have that?
The mistake people make is they let themselves put on weight until they suddenly find they've gained 10 kilos. And that's a really bad time to think about it, because when you gain 10 kilos, it's very, very hard to take off. And what happens too is you put on 10 kilos, you take off 10 kilos, your body it's called yo-yo dieting. And it's very, very difficult, and your body tends to go back to where it was before. Now, what I like to do is to make sure my weight doesn't go up more than 1 or 2 kilos at the most before I really clamp down and start doing something about it. So one of the things I'm doing right now is called a 16-8 diet.
Right.
Which is that you have all your food in 8 hours a day. And what I try and do is to finish all my food at 7 o'clock in the evening, have an early-ish dinner, which is better anyway, and then I don't eat until midday the following day. So I've come back. I had some oatmeal for breakfast, but my breakfast was like 12:15.
Yeah, the intermittent fasting. Yeah, they call it. It's the trend thing at the moment.
So it actually, there's this thing that goes on in your cells. If you don't feed them for a while, if you fast for a while, it allows them. They go into repair mode. They're not always. There's a thing called mTOR where they're actually functioning. And then if you don't feed them for a while, there's a thing called autophagy or something like that, which enables them to renew, and they get rid of all the nasty stuff, and they recycle it, and they do all kinds of really useful things. Our bodies are designed to fast occasionally. So fasting for like a day or two is a lot, but actually just fasting for 16 hours is not difficult at all. I don't really feel it.
I've been doing it for a while now, not something really deliberately, but I saw the science and I thought, okay, so from 12 to 8 is my window, so 12 to 8, and it's mainly good foods. I don't worry about counting calories or whatever. It's just good foods between 12 to 8 o'clock. And then you feel a lot better because people eat before sleep, and you shouldn't do that. It's very hard. And
so you're doing 16-8 too, are you?
Yeah, I've been doing it for around a year, and I just make sure I eat good food between the 12 and 8. But it's been naturally good because when I wake up, I don't want to eat anything. Do some fasted cardio on a bike and have a coffee at 12 o'clock, and then have a couple of meals. Or
I reckon it's better too if you do exercise before you eat.
Yes,
it actually burns off more. I found since I've been doing it, my weight's been going down.
Yeah,
it's about 65.5 kilos right now. Ideally, I'd like to be down to 64, but that's not too easy to achieve.
But you're right. As people get older, they've got to really worry about their weight. You can't carry that weight. I'm younger, so I can carry a bit more weight now. But as I get older, I've got to try and trim down, which I'm not going to probably like to do. But
it gets harder as you get older.
Yeah, I can imagine.
At my age, people tend to have too much there, and it's not good at all.
Yeah, well, blokes obviously put it all around there, and that's something which is a bit hard. And we have a lot of some blokes in the office who have been doing a bit to try and lose the battle. Sort of reduce that weight around there, because they're a bit older now as well. It's something that's really concerning.
Well, I'm very concerned. I want to do anything possible for people to be healthy at the office too. So that's why the fruit from Jim's Home Fresh. Yep. While the staff were around, we had those 2 boxes delivered, and that was great because that tended to drive away the chocolates and stuff, and the fresh fruit was good.
Well, for people listening or watching, we have an office. If you come here, there's a table there, and people used to come in and bring donuts and chocolates and everything like that. And if it's there, people would eat it, right? So now the boxes of Home Fresh were there and there. No more chocolates, which was good. So
well, there's not no more.
Well, sometimes I do. I stay away.
But there's less.
Yeah, but you do the altruistic thing and you come over and you eat the chocolates to make sure no one else eats it, all right?
I do too.
Yeah.
I have a bad thing for chocolates. I don't find it easy.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what I find is good? What I can eat is dark chocolate.
Yep.
I get an old gold with nuts in it, and I have that. And apparently, if you don't have milk in it, it's not too bad. And chocolate itself is actually quite good for you. It's all the fat in the milk chocolate that's really bad.
There's a lot of really good like let's say healthy chocolate companies now. The dark cacao, from Colombia and all that sort of stuff, and it's all this organic chocolate and give it back to charities and stuff. It's expensive, but it's nice.
I tried some different varieties. I had one which is 90% cacao or something like that, and that was just can't eat it.
Yeah, well, it's not your traditional taste. Like if you eat the Cadbury milk chocolate, that's the one you sort of grow up on. Right? Whereas you have those ones, it's a completely different tasting thing. That's probably more real chocolate than the other thing. So. But
chocolate is, even though dark chocolate's got too much sugar in it, it's a very positive and beneficial kind of food from other points of view. So it's part of like a Mediterranean diet. Dark chocolate can be part of that. And people in Mediterranean countries, especially Greece is the extreme example, they tend to have a bit of weight on, but they have a very, very low death rate from things like cardiovascular, from heart
they
problems.
Do, don't they? Yeah, because a lot of the oils, olives, all that sort of stuff, a lot of meats.
So I tend to eat. I'm not a fanatical about it. I mean, when they buy the Nutella, they always have to try and hide it. It's a family joke because otherwise I tend to grab it, put it in rice bin or somewhere to get away from me. So I really have a problem with that kind of stuff. But if I don't have sweet stuff around, we always have lots of fruit at home.
Yeah,
always piled high with fruit on the kitchen bench. So if you want to snack on something, and now it's only between those hours, 12 and 7 normally, that I eat anyway. So it's just easy to go and grab an apple or grab a mandarin or grab some berries or something like that.
How are you finding your sleep now with that sort of? Because a lot of people tend to eat late and they have trouble sleeping. So you're eating between these windows. Do you find your mood's improved or you sleep better, or what are the benefits you're seeing besides the lost weight for it?
I sometimes wake in the night anyway. So I just wait for an hour or so and read a bit.
Yep.
It doesn't worry me too much. I think when you get older, also when you're older, you need to go to the toilet more often. So you often get up in the night and go.
Yeah.
But it's no big deal. I've got some great stuff on my on my tablet. I'm just reading books about different things. I'm reading one about African dictators like Mugabe and stuff, and how they've got into power and what they're doing, and all kinds of fascinating stuff.
I was going to say, now with your diet, let's talk about your nutrition. So you're big on that. So do you want to tell people a little bit about what you eat during the week?
Yeah, I don't eat a lot of meat. Most of them, occasionally a bit of fish. 1 or 2 nights a week we'd have some fish. The only thing I eat at meat is actually for barbecues. I have a little patty, which is sort of it's a 4-star, so it's a little tiny chicken patty, and I have that on a slice of bread, and I have that, and I have cherry tomatoes and roasted corn and some fruit and stuff. So it's even though there's a bit of, you might say, processed meat in there, it's not that much. So in actual fact, in an entire week, I eat very little meat. I don't really have much of a taste for meat these days. I kind of like vegetarian foods more than, I don't miss meat particularly. Apart from the barbecue, I just haven't found anything that goes on the barbecue that's really, that's good.
Yeah, no, I love my steaks and that, so I'll eat a lot of meat. So I really enjoy it. But I was going to say with you as well. What are you doing with the family though when you go for dinner? Because obviously you have a pretty strict diet, but I know you go out for to a few local restaurants around here.
Yeah, well, we might go to Latrobe in Lilydale, which we miss with the. So, and the good thing about that place is the pizzas are okay. I have a Mediterranean.
We'll say they're great, so they can sling you a few. They're not okay. They're great.
Well, the good thing about them is I have a because they know us, we can do a half and half. So my son would have a margarita or something like that, his half, and I would have a Mediterranean vegetable one.
Do they know it's you though, ordering the pizzas? Do they know it's Jim?
I come in. I have no idea if they know it's me. I suppose they do.
They should have a pizza after you.
I wear a uniform. But the other thing to do, they have a nice bowl of vegetables.
Yeah. And
we ask for the green vegetables. So the part of the rule we go to La Porchetta is because they have a quite nice bowl of vegetables. We always get that as soon as possible. Everybody gets dished out, so they have that. And then the pizza and stuff, and not a lot of meat and things. So it's good. And then of course we wreck it all because we go up the street to Cold Rock, and we have very ice cream and this kind of thing with fillings. But overall, we're not fanatical in my family. But I do eat sweet stuff, but just try and keep the balance towards vegetarian and stuff. If I have breakfast, actually like these days, there's more lunch, but oatmeal sweetened with sultanas.
Yeah,
and then we use soy milk rather than ordinary milk. So just reasonable sense. I mean, there are people who are fanatical about it, and I'm certainly not. I like occasionally, especially when you go out with your kids. We go to a China bar, which is a sort of which Lee likes because there's Chinese stuff there. So, and when you go to China bar, which might be only once every couple of months, then you just anything at all.
I like China bar. China bar's good. Yeah.
It's a complete feast. There's no holds barred. You just eat. But I think also when you don't eat so much, your stomach doesn't expand. So there's a strict limit to how much you can put in when you're not used to big meals.
What are you eating at China bar? You getting dumplings or what do you like?
Just I have they have some steamed fish there and just various kinds of vegetables like broccoli and things and then you have. I usually have a bit of fried food like fried prawns and chips and things, just a little bit and different kinds of desserts. They have little tiny desserts, so I eat those. That's kind of like our big extravagance because normally if we eat out as a family, entire family meal would be $50. I mean,
that's all.
Oh, we don't eat. We're not expensive eaters.
That's very, very cheap.
Considering I'm theoretically a multi-millionaire, I spend a lot on eating out.
That's very, very cheap. Yeah.
But China bar is obviously a lot more expensive. That's like a very occasional extravagant. When Lee and I have our anniversaries, like we couldn't do it this year, but normally we go back to the train station where we met. And we these days we tend to stop by at China bar on the way back.
And I was going to say, is that something in your family? All your kids eat healthy, or you're pretty strict on that? Or you just let them make their own decisions, or how does it work?
Well, no. No, what'll happen is we'll have the food, and then I'll take out the broccoli, whatever it is, to put it on Aaron's plate. So he's got to he'll finish that before he does anything else. He knows the story.
Yeah.
Kids in my family don't get away with. But none of us are overweight. Not one of my children are overweight.
Are they big on sport at all? Do they play any sports, your kids, or?
No, not really. We're not a sporting family.
You weren't a sporting person when you were younger?
No.
That's interesting because you play racquetball, you like squash, which is a sport. So how did you get into that?
My father
introduced
me to squash.
Yeah.
We had little old rackets, the old wooden ones with a little tiny head and stuff. We used to play sports most of other guys. So I got into that, and I played it over the years. But I don't know, squash is very different. Squash is very individualistic. It's just you against one other person.
Yeah.
And I like it because it's so intense. It's very competitive, getting intense. I mean, if you play squash for half an hour, and I usually play 3/4 of an hour, you are completely bushed. It's really absolutely exhausting, and it's just so competitive. And it's so interesting too, because with squash, you can do so many shots. It's not like in tennis where you just got to try and get over the net if you're not that good, which I'm not. But in squash, you can hit it hard, you can hit it soft, you can hit it off the side wall, even the back wall sometimes. With racquetball, you can hit it off the roof. So there's so many different shots. And a lot of the value of it is not just thinking what's a good shot, but where does the other person think you're going to do it and put it somewhere else. And sometimes the poorer shot is better if it's unexpected.
So you like using your brain, you like being able to surprise, you like a bit of strategy and that sort of stuff.
It's very challenging. It's very interesting. So it's interesting, it's competitive, and it's exhausting. That to me is a perfect game.
That's quite interesting though, because you said your dad got you into it. Do you think if your dad was playing football or something, you might have got into that, or how do you think that would have? Or was it just because something you and your dad had that you sort of gravitated towards it?
I wasn't that close to my dad in those days, actually.
Right.
We became quite good friends when I grew up. At the time, he was a bit of a fierce authoritarian.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
So, no, I don't know. It's just what's in the family. But I can remember my father sitting in his office reading Time magazine, and that kind of thing. It sinks in. Just like my 10-year-old Aaron, he reads New Scientist, and we talk about the articles that are going on in it. It's just the nature of it. And my kids don't tend to be sports minded. Yeah, you do pick it up from your parents a lot. They tend to be very focused on fitness and diet and health because they just get it from me.
So you think those habits that you like, those things that you like now, were influenced heavily by your growing up with your father and seeing what he did, and your love for reading and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and you obviously have a big influence on your kids. My daughter Jasmine is very strong on fitness. She's wonderful. She's very, very big on health and so forth. And Esther, my 16-year-old, she's getting pretty good now. She runs on the treadmill and takes the dog for walks and stuff. And she's vegetarian, so she's very concerned about diet and stuff.
Yeah.
There is an influence. I think it's one of the great things about having kids is that you can actually help them in some ways because it's so good. It's like what is it? Stephen Covey says the real secret to happiness is giving up what you want right now for the sake of what you really want from life. And to me that's the case. You've got something that you might want to eat now, and you'll get this much happiness from it from having it. Because I mean, it's nice. So I don't get that, but at the same time, down the track a bit, what I get is, it might be that much extra happiness, but it's spread over the whole of life, because being healthy just adds and fit just adds so much to all of life. Like it's every day I feel good, every day I feel fit. I just enjoy life so much.
But you got that discipline as well, because you said sometimes you might not want to get up and do it, right? But it's that constant, you're doing something you don't like every day at the start of the day. It makes everything else a lot easier.
Yeah. I would set myself, like if I didn't have exercise, I would just feel very, very bad. I'd feel very guilty. I'd feel I was a failure. I just feel it's horrible. It's the same way as breaking a fast. Like to eat between those hours, I just wouldn't do it because any pleasure I get from it would be so much unbalanced by this. Oh no, you've failed. Which is also we do church fasting too during March, the March fast where you choose what you're going to.
Lent, right? Yeah.
Well, it's like Lent, but we just do it for the month of March. But then there's certain things like no sweet, no desserts, no soft drinks, no nothing during that period. And because it's a fast and it's sort of a promise to God, you just don't break it.
Yeah, we've got Ramadan as well with a lot of our Islamic people as well doing Ramadan. We have a few Islamic people at work who used to do the Ramadan as well. So
I admire that discipline too. I think it's one of the great strengths of Islam. Is why it's so powerful. The Ramadan fast is the core of it. It actually has a very strong effect on the body. It is actually good for your body to be hungry. It's good for your body to fast. It's also good spiritually. It's also good for your mind, for your spirit, for your self-control, for your will. Fasting has enormous benefits. It's not easy to do.
But I think after a while, like before I even knew it was intermittent fasting, I sort of did it in a way, just because I was working so much. I didn't have time to go and eat stuff, so I was just doing it. And then you want to eat before bed, because if you ate before bed, you would have issues. You couldn't sleep properly, all that sort of stuff, and just one of those things. But it's definitely something that's catching on.
Every time that you choose not to do something, you set yourself a rule and says, I will not do it. It actually strengthens that part of your mind which is to do with willpower. It's like a muscle.
Yes.
And if you never do, and if you just eat what you want and you just slack and you don't exercise and stuff, well, it doesn't develop. But every time you do anything at all that says, no, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to eat between these hours, I'm not going to eat this particular food in this time, anything at all, it strengthens that and it makes everything else easier to do.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff like Jordan Peterson stuff I like a lot of, and there's a lot of American literature from Marines, just simple things like making your bed consistently every day, from making your bed consistently every day, then do 5 minutes of bike, and then you just build and you build and you build, and you do it every day and you feel better, you get more confident, blah, 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 blah. But the key to do it is discipline, is every day. A lot of people get motivated and do something. I'm going to do this and do it for a week, then they stop, or they start a workout plan and stop.
They do it too much, actually, too. You got to start with something that you can actually stick to, and that's the important thing. Yeah, I believe that's one of the things we don't have much help. We have a cleaner come in once a week, not every week actually, just to do the basic stuff, but everything else. So if I go into the kitchen, I will just clean up the kitchen. It's just part of my job that I do, because it's a good discipline for myself. It's also an example for the children. Pick things up from the floor. I make our bed every morning. So just small things like that. To me, the disciplines, the chores of everyday life are actually part of a good life. One of the things I'm most emphatic about is, because obviously we're pretty wealthy these days, is just not to be sucked in by that stuff, because I think it's destructive. If you have people do things for you, if life is too easy.
Well, you hear a lot of bad stories about it, don't you? You hear a lot of people who are self-made millionaires and their kids are horrible. You hear that all the time from people, because they just want to be good parents and give them everything, but then in the end they hurt them. So. And
my kids aren't. They aren't spoiled in the slightest. They just are not. They know quite well. They've seen their father and their mother working and helping, and they help too, and it's just part of life. And they see this image of rich people in the media and stuff, and it's just, they don't recognize it. They don't perceive us as being rich, even though it's some theoretical knowledge. They know that we're multi-millionaires. They just don't see it in their life at all. There's nothing in the vehicles we drive. There's nothing in the places we eat out. We do eat out, which is not
$50 for a family. That's not a bad one. That's a good.
Yeah. Well, it's not actually very much. You share a small pizza with my son, and that's not much. And there's some vegetables, and Esther might have a bowl of pasta, which we often just we store up and take home, so we can eat the rest later. It's not a very expensive.
You got the doggy bag as well. That's good to hear. So Jim does the doggy bag, takes it away.
Oh, we're very big on containers, actually. We've got to mass them. Every takeaway container we get, we always keep it and we wash it.
Really?
And we use it for food, leftovers, and stuff to eat the next day and so forth. Yeah.
That's it.
I believe in a simple life to a limit, not to an extreme extent, but I just think that it's better. It's better for you physically. It's better for you spiritually, and I don't think we should spoil or waste the environment. I really dislike wasting food. Absolutely hate it. Which is why it's good in a sense. We try and we eat the food, we store it and have it again. You have it the next day or have it for lunch or something like that. But anything that's left over at all goes to the chook bucket, and then it goes to the chooks, and then they create eggs, which we then do.
Yeah, I just got that on the video where you actually feed the chooks. You take out the scraps and away you go and feed them, and as you said, creates more food, gets eggs, away you go. I was going to say as well, let's letting everyone know, we do have Jim's personal training, which is now, the division started up. We have a video online about, they've got a 360 gym, so it's a mobile gym which goes behind, and in this environment, gyms are closed. So I think gyms are closed, well, they are in Victoria anyway, at least for a long time. So
I think a personal trainer is a very good way to go. It's a division that I'm personally very interested in. Personal training and home fresh is almost my favourite divisions, even though they've only just got off the ground. But I think people do find it difficult, and having a trainer who's going to talk to you every day and say, how are you going, and did you do this, and have you done that, and this kind of thing, that's psychological help, having somebody to keep you honest. It's like when we do a fast in our family, and it's not easy to do, but because we're all doing it together and we talk about what we're doing, and if you break the fast, then everybody knows about it. So My son, we did it fast. He actually gave up all his video games except for 2 hours a day, which was incredibly big for him. But he decided to, and we were going into the fast, and he found it so difficult. And I said, Aaron, if it's too hard, you can just do sweets like Daddy. He said, no, I'm going to stick to it. He wouldn't fail publicly. And that was an incredible thing that he did. He doesn't want to do it again, but it's all discipline.
Yeah.
Life is about discipline. There's the small disciplines of life, the little things that you can do.
No, you're right, and I agree with you. There's a book I read, Can't Hurt Me, David Goggins, and he says the same thing. He says motivation is crap, discipline's everything. Doing something you don't like every day, that's where you're going to get your results.
But it also gets easier too. The more you do it, it's not really a decision. It's like I get up, and I know that I'm going to do it. It's just not an option not to do it. And I do my run, and I do the rowing, and then I have a cold shower, and if you said to me, is that really what you feel like doing right now? I'd say no, but the idea of failing is just terrible. But then I come out of it and I'm sort of, refreshed and energetic and just full of vim and in a positive mood. It's so overwhelmingly, you sacrifice that much enjoyment for that much long-term feeling. I find it, in a sense, I find it hard to understand how people don't do that because the benefits are so extraordinarily great.
Well, it's easy for them to stay in the warm bed or to go, I'll do it tomorrow, right? That's the easy option which people tend to take. And getting to the gym, for example, is half the battle. You get to the gym and you feel all of a sudden you're all right.
And people do that, actually. That's one reason they go to the gym. I find that a lot of extra time that I wouldn't have. But yeah, look, going to the gym, making a habit of going to the gym and being there, or part of a class. They have these classes where you do a certain sort of set things, and people are expecting you, having the social expectation to keep you on the straight and narrow.
Well, you definitely would try hard. If there's other people in there sort of beating you on the bike, you want to make sure if you're doing a spin class or whatever. But having what you said before about paying someone to keep you accountable is important. It's quite interesting. We're sort of in the age now of everyone's a coach. Everyone's an online coach and everyone's an expert, and there's this whole new field. It's probably a 6-figure field. There's probably people making money. They're called accountability coaches. And it's literally you pay someone money and they literally just keep you accountable. So you say, what are your goals, blah, 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 blah. And you're paying a significant amount of money just to make sure they sort of make up for your discipline, right? You've got to check in with them and they're the ones holding you accountable. Personal training's the same thing. So I think if personal training, it's good if you're new to it to get a personal trainer to show you how to do everything. But just that aspect of saying, right, I'm paying this money. I'm going to be in that time period. I'm going to give 100%. So
I think the accountability life coach, whatever, is a fantastic idea because it isn't just about... It's about fitness, but it's also about diet. What are you eating?
But the person who's telling you's got to be the one who's beyond reproach. There's nothing worse going to a gym and seeing an overweight personal trainer trying to train someone. It's quite embarrassing. So if some people who are in those positions, there's a lot of people who aren't. They're all well and good giving advice, but they need to probably take their own advice. So make sure if you do get a personal trainer or coach, they're nice and shredded, please.
I'm quite sure all the gym's personal trainers are...
Alan's good. So we got a video of Alan online, so... Alan's good. Alan's fit. So please make sure you use him as well.
I have an aim. I'd like every single one of my staff to be. We've got like 50 staff at the national office. I like every single one to be I have a goal for every single one to be fit, to be healthy, not to be overweight, and not to smoke.
Not to smoke's a big one, isn't it? With you, there's a few people smoking. You made some generous financial offers for them to quit smoking. They wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
like significant money, like.
I said to him, you don't smoke for 6 months, I'll give you $10,000. But your first cigarette, you got to give me $10,000. Now I reckon he was terrified his wife would find out about that. Though she did actually, and he still won't do it.
Now let's talk about how she found out. How did she find out that one? You sent her a letter.
Did I?
Yeah, I remember. I remember this because I was there. I think we stirred him up a bit, and we said, let's send a letter. So we sent a letter to the house addressed to his wife. So that's how she found out about it. But yeah, smoking's a big vice, and I know a lot of people here smoking. You're right. I know a few people in the office can probably lose a few kegs, and it's not me talking out of school, but it's a matter of doing stuff.
Well, I hope they will actually. I mean, when we were talking about getting this health club done, which was like 3 years ago, when we first decided to do it, the Lee said it'd be good for the conference centre, but it's not worth the money. And I said, yes, I want my staff to be healthy. Because I think that's beneficial in so many different ways. It's beneficial personally, it's beneficial for the work because they'll work more effectively. It's a better environment. They'll stay with us longer, so I can keep my good staff on board because staff is incredibly important part of it. I've got a great staff in this business, and I want to keep as many as possible. I don't like losing good people. I really hate losing good staff members.
And productivity, productivity would go up. And for me, I have to drive into Mooroolbark when it was open, I could go every lunchtime, which was good. Yeah. But having it here would be great. And there's no reason not to do anything if it's here.
When it gets going properly, I'd like to see, Jim's personal training get involved, maybe as a free service to the staff to a certain extent, help people with keeping to these disciplines.
Yeah, well, we had him booked in to come just before coronavirus, and something with his signage, and he couldn't come out. Then the whole thing happened, and we couldn't do it. But he was planning to come out here because he does group sessions, so he does group corporate fitness and stuff like that, and that's what it's designed for. It's a really cool thing. I want to get him out here again, so
it's just so incredibly valuable. It's just wonderful, and I know I have a good life from many points of view, but my mood is so good. I'm so full of energy. I'm 68 years old, and I've just got bursting with ideas and with energy and with passion. Sometimes too much passion. People around me, I wear people out. But so much of that's just the decisions you make, the little decisions. Do I get up and do I get on the treadmill? Do I avoid eating that particular food and perhaps have more of this? Just changing your life, just doing the little things around that make all the difference in the long run.
Yeah, exactly right. And the more you the long run, the little things that up to the long run. You're 68, you've never had what I know of any major health issues or anything like that. So that a lot of other people be in the other basket. I know it's quite funny. This might sound bad, but we sometimes get people talk about succession plans on Jim's Live and stuff all the time. And half the people asking, I think, well, Jim's in a lot better shape than them. You know what I mean? You probably outlast a lot of the people who ask it sometimes.
I know some people talk about moving towards retirement. And I say, you've got to be joking. Why would I want to retire for? Who is going to retire when they're having so much fun? I know that in 20, 25 years I'll be dead, but in the meantime I've got an awful lot to achieve.
You never know what might happen, mate. You never know.
They might. I keep a very close eye on all the aging research and stuff. I'm really interested in that and all the different things about, blood contents and old for young blood. And I watch everything.
Well, the Tesla Neuralink, the Neuralink from, I don't know if you heard the Elon Musk interview I sent with the recent one. He's talking about Neuralink, and they're at the stage now where they're about to start trialing the Neuralink in the head to fix brain conditions and stuff like that. So people with dementia and stuff, they basically drill out a bit of your skull, put the Neuralink in, and away you go. So that's going to be quite interesting. All the biotech stuff that's coming over the next 20 years.
Well, I'm very concerned to avoid dementia too. My mother went through that, and it was.
Well, Mum's got it currently, so my mum's 62 with it.
Sorry,
so my mum's only 62 with dementia. So
that's terrible.
Yeah, well, that was due to all the ECT when she was younger. So.
But my mother she didn't have that reason, but she was very overweight. She didn't exercise at all. And actually, when she just got so emotional and angry, she wouldn't even walk down to the dining hall to eat, and that just made it so much worse. I mean, that's just a terrible, terrible way to go, to see this very smart, alive woman, just her mind disappearing. I mean, that's just absolutely horrifying.
Yeah, and that's why it's important for you to stay active,
Stay physically active, good diet, don't get overweight, keep your mind active, keep working. I just don't understand why people want to retire. I can understand if you were doing heavy physical manual work. Obviously, after a certain stage, it gets a little bit difficult, but even then, you just calm down a bit. But for somebody who works with their mind, what is there about 65? I just don't comprehend it.
We have it good here as well. I think people just get complacent, and they take it good. And as you said before, they wake up the next day and they're all of a sudden 20 kilos overweight where they should be in there. It's something where we need to focus a bit more on. Mind, body and soul, those three things, right? You always see mind, body and soul. You've got that aspect. I've got two of them. I don't have a soul, so I've got mind and bodies, I think, sorted.
You have one, you just don't recognise it.
No, but it's very important, those three things, right? They all work together. Mind reflects to the body, all that sort of stuff. So it's something that people need to do. And Jim's personal training, I hope it does take off. We've got one franchisee, Alan, who's out in Essendon. So we've given him a good plug today, Alan, for the new franchisee. So please, if anyone's in the Melbourne area, use him. So
if anybody who's watching this and wants some encouragement, you can email me, jim@jims.net, and I will go back to you straight away. I'd love to talk about health. It's something that I really have a passion for.
That's great. So what we'll do is just leave everyone know on cameras when Alan can come out here with the 360 gym. We'll have you out there and do some stuff as well.
Yep.
How do you think you'll go have you seen the battle ropes before? Have you seen anything like that? Or have you ever done weights? I should have asked you at the start.
No.
Never lifted a weight?
No.
Yep. Do you reckon you could give it a go?
Yeah. I'm reasonably strong.
Yeah?
I went on a church camp and there was this, which is very primitive in our church. It's very outdoorsy. Everybody's in tents and there's a hole for a toilet. So like that. And so they get the water from a nearby creek. Mm-hmm. And I just picked up a couple and went down there and said, no, you can't do that. Everybody over 60s, that's age discrimination.
How much are the things? How much are they weigh?
Nothing. They're okay.
Yeah.
I lift heavy things all the time on the farm.
Okay. How much do you reckon you could bench press? You know the old bench press when you lay on the bench and you got to push like that? How much
I have
do you
no idea. But last weekend at my farm, you know what a rubbish bin is, that size?
Yeah.
Okay. I filled 6 rubbish bins with llama poo.
Llama poo?
Llama poo.
Right.
So I filled them up with llama poo.
Yeah.
And I lifted them onto the bed of the truck. And that was the hardest part, lift them up onto the bed of the truck.
Yeah.
And then I had to lift them down again and put them on the veggie gardens. Those things were heavy. So I don't know what the weight is, but that was a really, really fun job. I just love picking up llama poo and putting it on the garden. It was a great weekend. The sun was shining.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. So I spent several hours doing that. I just had a great, great time.
So how many llamas you got up there?
Well, we've got 3, hang on a bit, 1, 2 females, 4 in all, plus two little ones, but one that just died.
Do they have to get groomed or anything, or do you show them off, or they're okay?
No, we just got a sort of a llama stud.
Oh, okay, cool. So what we'll do, guys, is we'll leave it there for this week. So thanks for that. If you've got any topics or questions for Jim, just make sure you send them in to us. Also, Ask Jim is on every Wednesday night from 7 o'clock, Australia Eastern Standard Time. So thanks for that, Jim. We're on tonight as well, so make sure you subscribe to the podcast as well to ask Jim a question or any topic you want to know. So we'll see you guys next week.